Y'all know what time it is. War Room Podcast, Episode 2 for the 2020 NFL Draft Class. We are going to be talking about running back group, our top 5 running backs. There's about 5 to 10 definitely worth talking about. So we'll stick it to our top 5. We're going to do it again like we did last week, flashcard style. I'm like, I don't know about you guys, but I still don't even know if my shit's set yet. Like, I could flip right now just on a word, like anything you guys have to say right now, because I'm so tight between, I would say, 2 of the top 3. I definitely have a 1A, 1B, and I don't know how this works. Like, I kind of would love to get your guys' input on this. But man, there's been some current events. We got Bobby Wagner just got signed. We got Chris Rock getting the shit slapped out of him on stage. I mean, which got nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's almost like it's been the topic of the like, who hasn't talked about that this week? And then Bruce Arians retiring. Are we all in agreement that we just like a lot? Like, I think so much less of Will Smith. Like, how'd y'all take that?
I don't, but like, I'm cool with what Will Smith did. I'm with it. I understand that that's a hot take. I don't care.
I mean, I can agree with it to an extent. I mean, he was sticking up for his wife. I mean, she clearly looked uncomfortable by the joke, but that's something you weigh and like pull him off to the side and hash it out like men. You don't get up and slap somebody on TV.
Oscars loved it. It's the most anyone's talked about the Oscars since the Oscars have been the Oscars, and now we have to. That's all people have been talking about this week. It's crazy that we squeeze that in.
Nobody shut up about it.
But,
I don't really have an opinion either way.
I just want to say, Will looks tired, man. The dude looks weathered. The dude looks like he's been going through a lot of shit. Dude's putting through 2 to 3 blockbusters a year, and now he's got to deal with a wife who's doing a television show, airing out all their shit. And now he's got to deal with people be up on a stage talking about his family. Hey, shouts to Will, man. I hope he's getting rest. He looks like he needs some sleep, and I hope he's getting it. But yeah, shouts.
I don't really have an opinion either way. That's all between them. The memes are glorious. So that's all I'm for.
Yeah.
It's the best thing that's happened to the internet since Tiger King, baby. Like, these memes are hardcore right now. Oh man, the memes are excellent. But I will say this: like, you don't ever slap somebody or smack somebody over a joke. If somebody is literally bullying you, that's one thing. But Will Smith is a hell of a lot bigger than Chris Rock. Like, I can't wait. I just love that, like, if you watch any of, like, the Flagrant 2 podcasts or any of, like, that circuit of, comedians, they are all, like, just bombarding Will Smith. Like, go watch the Flagrant 2 intro of Aaron Schultz just shitting on Will Smith, and it is so funny. And so, like, that's all I think is, if you thought your family and your grievances and were getting picked on a little too much then, it's going to be in every comedy special, and I can't wait. That's all I'll say. I can't wait. It was fucking hilarious, though. Like, that was hilarious. I love it. But Bruce Arians retiring. As a Bucs fan, put my Bucs shirt on. I'm in full support of Todd Bowles. I will say that. I'm not worried about it. BA's still going to be in the mix. I think he's still going to handle a lot of the head coaching day-to-day operations, or at least has the system set up to where, like, all of the scheduling, all of that stuff is kind of, it's going to be out of Todd Bowles' hands. He'll still get to focus more on the defense than most coaches. But, I mean, if Bill Belichick can go years where he's calling the defense as the head coach, I think Tampa is such the, it really is, like, half of our guys come from the Patriots. Light comes from the Patriots. Like, they have that kind of Patriot mentality. So I don't think it's going to be a seamless transition, and I'm stoked. I don't know about this. The whole Rooney Rule sounds kind of fishy. Like, you hire a minority candidate, but because you didn't interview 2 minorities, like, that's kind of silly to me. But I love my team for it. I'm stoked. Let's go Todd Bowles, baby.
I'm in support of it. I've always liked Todd Bowles, but I don't like the Jets. So I felt like the Jets kind of hosed them over because they didn't give him a good general manager. Who was the general manager when he was there? I don't even remember.
Oh, I forget.
Hated him at that time.
Not Greg. Not Doug Williams.
Telesco. Not.
I'm trying to think, but I remember that name. I remember that person being dragged through the mud about a year or 2 after Todd Bowles left. Tannenbaum.
Yeah.
Yeah. His opinions mean nothing.
I think it's also a great situation to continue to mold Leftwich, though. I mean, if he's going to be a prime coaching candidate in the future, I think Bowles is a great guy to sit behind for how many years he's there and see where things go.
All right. That is current events. Let's get on into this running back group, gentlemen. I mean, where are we sitting on this number one? Man, this is hard, boys. This is hard. I might be the last one to put mine up. I might.
Are we doing the cards?
Yeah, we're doing the cards. You got cards?
Yeah.
Is there? I'm ready whenever.
That's good.
Oh man. All right, let me get it right.
Oh shit. What?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
I just flipped. I went Hall. I flipped to Walker to at least give. Those are my 1A 1B is Walker and Hall, and I just flipped right now, and I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you, Ashton, but oh man, it is a close one too, and I don't even disagree with what you guys have to say in Isaiah Spiller, but apparently Isaiah Spiller is going to be the number one running back amongst at least these 5 scouts in terms of the ranking. So, Chaz, I know you had something to say earlier about it. Let it be.
My thing about Isaiah Spiller, I think he's the only running back in this group that has 3 down back potential. I think most of the running backs in this class are going to fit into a committee just through their skill sets being limited in either in the passing game or having lighter frames to not be able to carry on that workload. That's not an issue with Isaiah Spiller. He's a bigger back. He has good feet for a bigger back. And my biggest thing when evaluating running backs is contact balance. And I think he's top 2 at best or at worst in the class with contact balance. So that combined with his patience, he has Le'Veon Bell, not obviously stopping right before the line and letting everybody do everything, but he has great patience. It's top 3 in the class. It's just his route tree isn't great. He typically just runs outs or flares all game, but even then that can be developed. But he has natural hands. I think he's the best one in terms of being a 3-down back that can bring the most value to a team. If he wants to be in a committee, he's not limited on 3rd downs as some of the other backs that we'll get to in a few minutes here.
Nate?
Yeah, I'll pick up. I agree. I think he's probably the best overall well-rounded back in the class. Like Chaz said, he's a 3-down back. He's great in pass pro. He's got a really high football IQ. He reads the blitzes where they're coming from. Even on different twists and stunts, he's usually picking up the right man, and he's the effort he puts out into it and squares up and does a good job picking up blitzing linebackers and everything in there. So he's, I think, the best of the guys that I saw in pass pro, at least. As far as the routes, I think he also can do like an angle or a Texas route out of the backfield pretty well. He's got good hands. He doesn't have the breakaway speed. People knock him because of the combine and everything, but he's got enough for sure. And as far as he's got a good burst coming out and in short area quickness where he's going to make a guy miss in the hole or coming around and then still be able to pull away from him. And he's got a quick enough feet and change the direction where he can make that guy miss and create some separation there where he doesn't maybe necessarily need the breakaway speed. Good contact balance, like he says. He's very physical also, which I like. He always falls forward, and he's one of those guys you can put in there, and even if it's going to be a loss, he's probably going to at least minimize that where he gets either no gain or maybe even a short gain after that. So I think well-rounded, overall best back in the class.
Ryan, you had him as your number one too. What's your thoughts? Can you elaborate on anything that they said?
Yeah, just like both of them said, I think he's the most well-rounded back. like Chad said, my main thing with him is his contact balance. I mean, one of the big things I wrote down for him was he's a tackle breaker. I mean, he played behind minus Kenyon Green, a pretty, mediocre offensive line this year. And, kind of like what Nate said a little bit, even if it looked ugly for him, he was going to bounce off a couple guys or make a couple guys miss and, pick up 2-3 yards or at least get back to the line of scrimmage. That was big for me. Like his vision a lot. He has a little bit of a patient run style to him. He waits for things to open and then he hits the hole. Also, I think he's underrated as a receiving back. Really, I saw him run a couple wheel routes as well. He's not like blazing fast or like a crazy like technician in his route running, but he wins. Like he has good hands, like very strong-handed receiver, wins through contact. So I think that's going to be something that kind of keeps him on the field as a 3-down back as well at the next level.
Ashton, you disagreed, as did I, but
man,
do you have some negatives?
I'll say, I'm shocked. I was not expecting me to have to go to bat or against Isaiah Spiller with the first pick of tonight, but
neither did I, man.
I'm just gonna say this. I'm from Houston. I live here. I've watched a lot of A&M these last few years. I've seen him since he got here his freshman year. The man stayed productive. I believe he had over 5 yards per carry each of his 3 years that he was playing. He's very young. That's one of the main values I really see in this. He's 21 years old going into the draft. If you're drafting a running back, you want to get him young. The guy's got great body. He's got a great body. He's got the running back body you're looking for. He's got the production in the SEC. But other than that, I don't see anything that I would characterize from his skill set and his traits as anything better than above average at the next level. The man doesn't run. He doesn't have breakaway speed, as everyone's already talked about. He's got a good body, but he's not necessarily a power runner. Like, he's a decisive runner. Like, he knows which places he needs to go. He knows the holes he needs to hit, and he hits them. But he's not necessarily breaking away in these plays. He's just taking what's given to him, which has value in itself. But if we're talking a number one running back, I want to see someone who brings something to this next level that is discernibly different than something else you're going to get from the overall NFL landscape. And when I see him, I'm just never really impressed by what he's putting out. He's got a great jump cut. I really like his jump cut, and he's got a good vision, like when he's behind the scenes and he needs to switch from one place to another. He has the capability of doing that. But if I'm thinking if we're going to put him on the Bills, per se, like, is he doing anything better than Devin Singletary's doing? Like, besides just being a bigger guy. But, like, I just don't see, if I'm drafting him number one, which is in this class probably top of the second, mid-second, depending how frisky a team's feeling, maybe into the first, probably not. But I just don't see anything that translates to the next level that makes me excited for him as the RB1. So, therefore, he was not my RB1. And, we'll see where I put him later on.
Cam Akers is my comp to him, not necessarily because they're the exact same player, but because they did shit behind a terrible offensive line. They made negatives into positives, chicken shit into chicken soup on a consistent basis, and were actually productive behind a bad offensive line. So I think, like, my issue was the lack of the big play ability. Like, there wasn't a whole lot difference between his highlight reel and a regular game tape. And, like, I wrote down, like, the Bama game tape. It was nothing impressive, like, in terms of statistics and the actual, if you look at the stat line. But, he earned every yard. Like, those were grown man performances every single play, shaking a defender in the backfield, breaking another tackle, gaining 3 when he should have been a loss of 3. But the big thing is, it's all out of shotgun, and it's a bad offensive line. So I'm kind of like, there's more question marks to him than there is Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker to me. But at the same time, I think he can easily be the best back in this group because I want to see what he does behind a good offensive line. Is he broken to the point where he now has a hole and he doesn't even know how to hit it? Because we've seen so many running backs get bad habits behind bad offensive lines. It's either going to go one way or the other. He's either going to be basic and averages can be, or he's going to be one of the better backs in the league. But I said this before, I think we're all in agreement. None of these running backs are leading the league in scrimmage. Like, none of these running backs are going to have the rushing title. I don't think any of these running backs are above and beyond, amazing. They're going to come in and be maybe slightly better than the person that they're going to have to, share carries with or split carries with. And maybe by the end of the season, you might see 2 of these top 3 guys end up earning the starting role. Again, it depends on the situation. There's a lot of teams that don't even have running backs right now, like on the roster, or a starting caliber running back on the roster. So I like Isaiah Spiller. I was you guys were kind of convincing me earlier before the pod to almost put him there. But I had to put Kenneth Walker there with really, I'll just give it away. Bryce Hall and Kenneth Walker being my 1A, 1B. So,
just one thing I will say, just in terms of my comp to him, how you drop the Akers comp, I look at him more like a Joe Mixon type. Again, all around back. Like he can run with power, but he has good feet for a back, patient runner, and contact balance. I look at him like a Joe. And Joe Mixon took a couple years to get full 3-down work from Giovanni Bernard when he got drafted to Cincinnati. So if he ends up in a spot where he can, take early down work, and if your 3rd down back gets hurt over the year, which is a very realistic thing, he can come in and you don't lose that value on passing downs that you might lose with a Breece Hall. You know what I mean?
All right, gentlemen, who do we got for that number 2? Oh, wait, real quick, before, you guys want to talk about landing spots now, or you guys want to talk about some landing spots after?
Yeah, we can do landing spots.
Anybody have a good spot?
Texans. I'll probably say Texans for everybody, but I don't know. For him specifically, I could see like just a straight ahead, just
see that.
Let him make moves, just make it go. They have a good offensive line at this point. So
that's funny you said Texans, because my comp to him was actually Arian Foster.
Ooh, I like
Arian Foster in this
I was
game.
going to ask that.
That's a good comp.
Everyone saw Arian Foster. I don't think his vision's on Arian Foster's level, but the body's tight for sure.
His vision is very good. I don't know if it fits as far as where it would be drafted, and he's not going to a great offensive line, but I think Seattle maybe.
Okay. See,
I was thinking Rashad Penny. Like, that's who I was thinking with him. Just like a big body who can make moves, can do something, but like just hasn't really broken out because I don't think he has any, exemplary skills.
Walker gives me more Penny vibes. He's way more shifty and like way more quick-footed. When he plants and goes, like it's, he can literally make a guy miss in a phone booth. That's what I like to see. Rashad Penny was never that.
Get out of the phone booth. He runs a 4.6.
Yeah, but so do some other very good running backs.
So my landing spot, again, like I said, in thinking of a team that can have somebody come in on 3rd downs and be the 3rd down guy, I was thinking Miami. Again, I don't think these teams are gonna draft these guys in the top 20. You know what I mean? But mid-second round, Miami could mess around and go for Kenneth or Isaiah Spiller. And you got Mostert that can run 3rd downs, and you got, and again, depth in production. That's my thing with this running back class. I want people that have skill sets that don't limit me when they're on the field.
But how high are you drafting a running back depth player is my thing.
Seattle needs a running back. Seattle's got 40 and 41. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the order in the 2nd round to see where the actual fits can be, who goes first, and then it's going to kind of all domino effect from there. Because I think all 3 of them being so close, or our top 3 at least being so close, in my personal opinion, that once one goes, there'll be a domino effect. Kind of like, that's like that every year, but there's nothing.
Yeah, rephrase depth. When I say depth, I mean like none of these running backs are going to be like a Saquon Barkley come in immediately be 3-down back. Yeah, none of these guys are workhorses.
None of them.
I want dudes that'll be productive on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, and I think he can do that more than anybody else in this class. I'll rephrase that.
Yeah, I agree. That's where I was saying I don't think Seattle's. I think that's too high where Seattle's at for them to take
40, 41. You got Atlanta at 43.
I can see Atlanta. Depends on what they're trying to do in that offense, but like they have the opening for it.
They don't know what they're doing on their offense.
Right.
They
think Atlanta-
need any skill position players.
Atlanta at 58 too. Atlanta's got 2 second-round picks, so I like that one.
That could be a spot for the first running back.
Yeah.
So would y'all say if the over/under right now is 50.5 for the first running back taken in the draft, is everybody taking over?
Over.
I would.
I'll take the under.
But it's going to be the
team
under.
might.
It's gonna be the under.
Yeah.
A team.
I'd take the under there, honestly.
How many dumb moves do you see every year? I mean, it's gonna happen. But let's get into this number 2. We'll try to go a minute per take, so we can keep this
We'll
tight.
see how that goes.
All right. So
Number
I
2.
already said it. I got Hall, Walker. All right. That's. I mean, I had him at 1. You guys all got him at 2. I'm cool with that.
Let's get it.
Who wants to start? Where are we going? I mean, I had him at 1, so I guess. I mean, technically, I got elite Juker. I mean, he is that human joystick, like an agility of like if it was Madden, it'd be like a 96 to start. It'd be like a 95 to start. I mean, he's that agile. The footwork is incredible. He's got thick legs. If you give him the smallest hole, he can get skinny. He can shift his upper body. I mean, and keep momentum and get out the hole and get gone. Like that is what he is good at. He's cut and go. I mean, he is kind of a straight line runner. When he's at his best, he is a one plant and full speed ahead. That's what I like to see in the running backs. You don't want to see him be too shifty. I don't think Kenneth Walker, as good as he is at making guys miss and juke, he isn't a Shady McCoy to where he does too much dancing. He's too shifty. He's the guy still has a somewhat of a straight line downhill mentality, but if you get him in traffic with those linebackers, he's gonna make them look silly all the time, like so many times. I mean, his highlight reel of just not letting a guy touch him and making him miss is outstanding. It's the best in the class.
My views on Kenneth Walker, I do think he's the best pure runner in this class. I think for sure he can develop into that passing down role. Again, those are very important to me, being able to produce on all 3 downs. He has the athletic profile to be able to win in the open field. My biggest thing on Kenneth Walker is just he runs hard, angry. Like, he is a very physical dude. And my player comp to him is not necessarily an athletic comp, but it's Nick Chubb without the athleticism. Or without the high-end athleticism. I don't want to disrespect, but that's the role I could see him going into in the NFL, as in somebody that can run with early downs, pair him up with another mid-level back, you know what I mean, like the Kareem Hunts of the world that are better in their passing games attributes. So that's where I would like to see him go, and he can run in any scheme. I'll put him down as a gap scheme because he's so explosive, and he can hit the home run. He has the home run speed, so I have no issues with Kenneth Walker at all, honestly.
Well, cool. I'll go ahead and hop in. So when I saw Kenneth Walker, I wouldn't necessarily say it was more like joystick, like Jack was saying. Like, if anything, I kind of walked away like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever used this word either. It's kind of like clumpy in the sense of like when he cuts, like he's like sinking in and exploding through it. Like, it's not really sudden or like quick. It's just like absorbing so much force and exploding a different way.
I agree.
But dude can explode. The dude has probably the best breakaway. He's probably got the best breakaway speed in the class at this point, and I think there's massive value in that. And when I was saying like this is what I'm looking for in a running back, like what can you do at the next level? I think this dude could break off 70, 80-yard runs at the next level, starting his rookie year. And that was interesting with your comp, but I was seeing more of like a Raheem Mostert or like a Willie Parker, just like someone who, like, if you give him a lane and he's gonna have to beat everyone to that spot, the dude's gonna do it. And he's got a good compact, a good short stature, and he's again, it seems like he loads when he goes one space and then just delivers from there. So I think he's great for any gap scheme that he comes across, any zone blocking scheme that would bring him in. And I'm a fan of him. I think he can be I can think of a bit difference maker in the first year.
It reminded me the way he runs, just his stride reminds me of like a DeMarco Murray. But I think like he's got that like pop and that burst where he will like his ability to transfer power, I think is like what the term you were trying to like use. He transfers power from one foot to his shoulder so fast to where even if he doesn't completely make you miss, you're not hitting straight on, and he's gonna blow right by you. And it doesn't even like it looks like it. He doesn't have guys bounce off of him, but it damn near. It's not that bounce like you've seen with like a Zach Moss or some of these other guys that have that thud power. Guys just roll off of them. But damn, I mean,
he's explosive. I think he's definitely got a role for him day one.
Nate?
Yeah, I mean, just like you guys said, I mean, Chaz took my phrase word for word there. He's the best pure runner.
Right.
He's the best pure runner in the class for sure. That's okay. But I think what drops him for me, I mean, I have him as 1B. I think it's going to be dependent on the scheme and what teams look for. There's going to be teams that drop him pretty far because he's not usable in pass protection. The effort and the style he has in pass pro, they're not going to be able to do that in the league. He misses a lot. He dives at people's feet a lot, that kind of stuff. But as far as early down running, like you said, he's explosive, bursty, elusive, all that stuff. Fantastic runner. You could probably use him pretty well in like a screen game. I don't know about receiving outside of that very much, but yeah, that's kind of what dropped him for me, is just the question on being able to use him for 3 downs.
Yeah, just kind of like what you all have touched on with him. His biggest knock that kept him from being number one to me was just usage in the passing game. I just didn't see much there with him. I think he could definitely develop that. Like, he has some traits where he could develop that. I think he has the athletic ability to be that, but we just don't know yet. Love him in the open field. I mean, like you all said, he's elusive. He cuts and then gets upfield and gets going. I think the most kind of, I guess, less talked about of his game is his physicality. Like, he can run through some tackles, and I saw a couple runs at the end where, you know, he was wrapped up, but he's running through people, like getting that like extra 1 or 2 yards. Like, I think that's a big deal at the next level, is those guys are able to keep going forward and go forward through contact. And I saw that a lot with him. So I definitely think he's very close to that top one. I think he'll be, like kind of what Nate said, depending on a scheme that gets him, he could be very special, but he could also be, you know, just a secondary guy in a running back room as well.
Let's jump into number 3.
You want to talk about Fitz? We want to talk about Fitz?
Oh, Fitz. You got one, Chaz?
Well, my main one, how I said I want him to play the Nick Chubb role as in an early down featured back. Kamara, and pair him up with Kamara in New Orleans. Someone I would like to see him with. I mean, Kamara was at his best when he had Mark Ingram, and he could be more efficient with his touches instead of getting, you know, in 21 to 25 touches, he was getting like 12 to 18 touches, and then let Kenneth Walker take that early down role. I'm with that. I like to see efficiency out of my backs.
I think, again, Seattle's desperate for a running back. That run game hasn't been there. It has in spurts, but you know, when you don't have a running back that can stay healthy, it makes a big difference. And that 40-41 range, I think, is a sweet spot.
I think he's great for any zone blocking offense. If he went to a Shanahan or a McDaniels, if he went to Dolphins, 49ers, anywhere where he can just make that cut and again, just like lean into that cut and just explode upfield, dude could make a difference day one. And I'm sure, I don't know, it's weird. It's a weird draft class this year, but I could see him making noise rather quickly.
I was thinking Niners. They like to use a number of backs, so having a guy like that in there, and then they probably have another complementary piece in there as well that they rotate in and out.
Are we thinking second round though? Is he a second round pick at this point?
I'm thinking like mid-second somewhere, probably.
Right. Yeah, I'm
him falling to 61 is hard to believe for the Niners, but you could say that about almost any running back. Like going to the Niners, they're gonna have success. I mean, but he's got that system down to a T.
I mean, when I look at Fitz, I try this. The draft order is so fluid. Once we get into day two, people are gonna be jumping up and down the board. I'm not.
But all right, let's go into number 3. So, what is it? Hall. So then my 3, Spiller. You guys' 3 is Hall. Pierce, huh? I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I'm not for it in the top 3, but I'm not against it.
Whenever we're ready to talk about him. But who we got?
We're at Hall, right?
Yeah.
You had him at 1. So lead the way. Why is he the best running back in the class, which I'm so on board with.
Dude's 5'11", 217, got a great running back body for the next level, runs a 4.39, has mad production at the last level. He just has a nose for the end zone, man. He fits so many of the things that I feel you look for from a prospect that is transferring to the next level. I just really like the way he moved. He was like anytime he was on the field, he was the best player on the field. And I don't know. I'm just he's not the third down back that you may want from the number 1 running back, but I mean, if we're talking running back 3, I mean, this dude, he's explosive. He runs hard. He runs decisive. He makes good cuts. Like I'm surprised we're talking about him at running back 3 at this point, honestly. I just see a great running back. I think he's going to translate to the next level really well. And I just don't see the flaws in his game that warrants him being brought up this late personally. I think he'd honestly be a great fit for Buffalo. I don't see anybody that they have in their running backs position group right now that does anything better than Bryce Hall does what he does. Like maybe a better receiver. Like we're talking Singletary's maybe a little bit better receiver than him, but I think if you gave Breece Hall 20 carries, he's going to do more than Zach Moss does with it. He's going to do more than what Devin Singletary does with it. I just think he's a baller, and he's put up the production to prove that. And from what I've seen, I like it, and I'm a fan. And I think he does. I think it gets interesting. I think he might even touch the first round. We'll see. All
right, I had him as my number 2, very, very close, and I will likely push him to my number 1. I really do. I was in love with smooth patience. My biggest thing that I kept harping was all natural, baby. Like he is such it looks so natural to him. Right. When you have a running back who doesn't look flustered, like he just everything, traffic, a body in his way, like it doesn't faze him one bit. Like it doesn't look like he ever is flustered as a running back, and that he's got the blocking is the issue. Like he's at least got more effort than Walker does in the blocking, but it wasn't good. Like the form isn't good. Can it get better? Yeah. Does he have the power to block? Fuck yeah, he does. So I think that was the biggest issue when you watch him on film. You're like, all right, if you have the power to bully somebody and run him over, why don't you have the power to block? And I think it's slightly a lack of effort. A lot of running backs don't want to take those hits. They want to save their body, when they can. So like they care a little bit less about that quarterback than they do their own body, unless they have the ball in their hand. But I think just the field vision, the reading the blocks. He's got really soft hands. He may not be able to run the best routes. They're all underneath, flat routes, stuff like that. But just powerful lower body and contact balance. The contact balance, I think, you could say 1A, 1B with Walker in terms of they hit guys, but there's a little bit more of a pop when Hall hits somebody. I mean, and he will choose sometimes to not go around them and go through them, and he goes through them every time he chooses.
He's 6'1", 220. I just want to throw that one back out there.
No,
like he's got the perfect size for what you want from a workout.
I don't know who it was, but somebody was saying that there's no backs under 210 pounds that are like getting 1,000-yard seasons right now. Like over the last few years, it's all been those like 215, 220 backs that are having like the massive amounts of production. I think like Dalvin Cook is the lightest back that's like still producing. Not my take, don't quote me, but like it does kind of. Again, the NFL goes one way and then it goes the other way, and like it got to those smaller backs, lighter backs, and now it's shifting again to those bigger power backs because the linebackers getting smaller. Everybody's getting more athletic. So how do you counter athleticism? You counter it with power, and that's why I like a Breece Hall if in the right fit, because he could get lost in a bad team really easy behind a bad offensive line. He's somebody I think that he does need a good offensive line to run behind, as I think Walker and Spiller can create more of that offense on their own, almost like that Derrick Henry. He's got to get going a little bit. He's got to have a little bit of a gap. He doesn't make offense like Walker or Spiller does.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth there, Jack. That's what put him at 3 for me. I liked Hall coming in, and then watched the film on Spiller and Walker and just like their overall game a little more. I don't see that ability, like you said, to create something out of nothing, like in the backfield. If everything collapses like right away, I see Spiller on film. He had to do it some in college. I see Walker having the traits to make guys miss. Not saying that Hall can't make guys miss, but he needs more space and he needs to really like get going down the field. I do like his burst through the hole once he does find it. I think he has some elusiveness to him, especially for his size. And also would like to see him be a little more consistent in the passing game. But as I said with Walker, that's something that will probably be asked of more of him at the next level. And then just you all touched on the blocking was an issue with me. He just needs more power in his blocking, like we see with him as a runner, kind of like what Jack said.
How I looked at Breece, my biggest issue with him, honestly, I don't see it with the contact balance, man. He does lower the shoulder and he does finish runs forward. That doesn't mean he has good contact balance. He's not bouncing off of dudes and staying upright and continuing going down the field. He's going down on the first tackler a lot of the time. And that's not to say he doesn't make people miss, because there are a lot of times where defenders will see him as soon as he takes the handoff and he'll jump cut and get out the way. And that's my favorite thing about him is his jump cut ability, especially when he's pressing the line of scrimmage, and he can get from one hole, he can get from the A gap to the B gap in an instant. And that's my favorite thing about Breece is he presses the line of scrimmage. He can manipulate linebackers into the wrong gap and get out there and burst and pick up 6 yards. That's my favorite thing about Breece Hall. But my limitations, I don't like his contact balance. I'm not a fan of it. He does finish runs and falls forward. And his blocking, a lot of the way they used him, he would block and then run out in a flare route almost every time.
Yeah.
If there's no, you check for a dog backer, nobody's blitzing, I'm going to the flat almost every time. He's not a huge threat in the passing game yet. That's not saying he can't be, or like that a team won't use him in that manner. But I really wasn't impressed. And I do think a lot of me coming away unimpressed with Breece was that he was getting a lot of clout on Twitter. Everybody was gassing up RB1, and I do not see that at all. I think he's closer to RB4 than he is to RB1 for me.
Tight.
All right, so kind of going along with what Chaz said, I think that I think he kind of said it better than I was. I was going to say he surprised me that he wasn't as physical for a back of his size. But I think that's kind of like what Chaz was talking about, is that contact balance. He was going down a lot on the first guy from what I saw as well. It just didn't seem like he was playing as physical as like maybe Spiller when he runs or things like that. I think what knocks him for me is the things that he does well, Walker and Spiller do better. Like he's got good vision, but I think Spiller's got better vision. I think sometimes Hall kind of is either maybe a bit too patient or a bit too indecisive at times, and tries to be a little bit too patient and then gets caught up in the backfield. I think as a runner, obviously, I think Walker's better. As a pass pro, as in pass protection and receiving, I think Spiller's better. But yeah, I think those are the types of things that, like I said, what Hall does well and what you're giving him credit for, I think the other guys do better, which is why I kind of dropped him.
I think the field vision, the vision and the patience, like that to me is something that's so rare to find in a running back. And I think that's one of the traits that pans out the most when it gets to the NFL. Reading blocks, like Chaz said, manipulating linebackers, going from the A to the B or the B to the A, and being able to cut through when there's not a hole. He can make a hole. He might not be able to make a guy miss in the backfield like what we've talked about. He can't extend plays past what is given to him for the most part. But again, if you give him a lane, oh shit, look out. Like, good luck. You're not. But I will say that, like, one of the last film I watched even today, he had one-on-one with a DB, and the DB caught him at the knees, and like there was nothing he could do about it, and so I do think that in open field, making a guy miss, he's the number 3 on that list, maybe even down there farther, but just in between the tackles, I think he's the best runner in the draft. I do. Give him in a power run scheme, and he'll thrive. Do you guys have any landing spots?
Bills.
I like Ashton's fit with the Bills. I think even though he's not my RB1, I think if any were to go late first round, it would be Hall, just because of that fit with a team like Buffalo. I think he would fit very well in their offense.
They've been dying for a true running back.
6'1", 220, you can run a 4.3. That's what they've been waiting for, man.
Trying to look at it. I mean, Jacksonville maybe 33. They got way more holes to fill. They shouldn't be drafting a running back anytime soon.
Here's good mid-round running backs for them.
Houston.
Worry about that.
Again,
What about Tampa Bay?
We got playoff Lenny.
Yeah.
Give me the next guy. That's who I want. The next guy is the number 1 running back, or should be the number 1 running back on the Bucks big board.
This next one we're doing?
Without further ado. Ready? Bam.
Oh.
Cook. This one was close. I will let. I mean, I feel like Nate and Ryan have been getting the leftovers on a few of these takes. So, gentlemen, feel free to jump in.
No, that's fine. I'll just start him off. I like what I like most about Cook is his versatility. I think you can kind of move him around and play him in a lot of different areas. I think he's a good receiving back. You can split him out in the slot. You can even maybe move him outside wide and use him out kind of creatively out in that area. I think he's a good enough runner in between the tackles and kind of has some of that elusiveness and good running style to be able to do that. But yeah, I just like his versatility. I think you can move him around and do a lot of things with him, and that's kind of why I have him slotted as 4th there.
Man, that was the big thing for me. I love his versatility. When I watched him, I'm not saying he's going to be as good, but I saw a lot of Alvin Kamara. Just line him up in the slot, even on the outside some, and he can run routes like a lot of slot receivers. I thought a lot of quickness, ran a wide variety of routes. And like Nate said, he can still run between the tackles, but I mean, his speed and quickness, he gets an open space or they get him to the outside. Like, he's a problem. He has that breakaway speed. He has a little twitchiness to him. I mean, at Georgia, he was never the leading rusher, but when he was on the field, like, he was very dynamic. Like, I think he could come somewhere and be like that change of pace back. And then if he develops even more, maybe he turns into the guy, who knows? But I mean, I think he's I wouldn't say slept on because people are talking about him, but I think he has a lot of upside to him that's not been tapped into yet.
Yeah, I think he's like Clyde Edwards-Helaire without the hype right now. In terms of kind of not necessarily underperformed. Like, you took the words right out of my mouth. Most dynamic player on the field, a Swiss Army knife of a weapon at the running back position, and it is definitely a lazy comp, but he is just a smaller version of his brother. The way he runs, the burst,
they run
the change of direction, like, just everything about it is very similar. He's just a smaller, more agile, but scat back type version of Dalvin Cook. And man, what he would do to a team like my Bucks. Oh my God! I mean, he's the player I'm salivating at the idea of, especially if it's a third in the third round. Him and Leonard Fournette is just a beautiful 1-2 pairing, and Leonard Fournette already dominates the third down back. So like to be able to give him to be able to have another player on the field where you still don't know what's going to happen. Like, they still could hand off the ball. He's not going to just be a receiving back. He's going to be a change of pace back who can still run between the tackles, who can still do things, who can add a wrinkle to an offense that wasn't there before. And I think any offensive coordinator looks at him and salivates at the opportunity.
Ashton, you can go.
Ooh, I actually like the Buccaneers fit because I see James White, and I see someone who can get out of the, like someone mentioned the Texas or the angle route earlier. I think he runs the best angle route in this class. Like, he's just smooth, he cuts well, like he gets open and he catches well. Like, this dude could be a problem really, really early, especially in a good system. And I like him. I think he's really explosive. I think he has a lot of the traits that Dalvin has, except just not nearly as powerful, but like I said, more agile towards it. But he has the same stride. He has the same movements. Like, he just looks good when he has the ball. And I think if he is put in a position to be in a scheme that gets him the ball in space where he's able to make moves and make things happen, the dude could make things happen. And I'm a fan of his. And he wasn't necessarily in my top 5, but not to say I'm not a fan of him. He was in my honorable mentions for sure, but it was because he's scheme dependent. I don't think he'd be good in a power running scheme where he just gets the ball and hands it off right in the middle. Like, that's not his game. But if you put him in a Tampa Bay or somewhere that needs him to be that pass receiving guy, dude could be a name for the next 10 years.
I hate to say it. He's the running back KC wishes they had. He's the running back. He's the Damien Williams, except just way better. Everything they've wanted in these little backs, like, he is it. He would be perfect for KC. And I'd hate it. I'd hate to see it.
Damien Williams, but I see what you're saying, and I agree. I
mean, what they've tried to get out of who was the other Williams? Daryl Williams, and like they've tried to get that. It hasn't been it. I'll do whatever the hell I want. Chaz, what do you got?
My big thing on not Dalvin. See, y'all got me messing up already. This is what happened. This is why I don't go last. I'm kidding. With James, my word that you actually used to ask was smooth. Everything kid does is smooth. My big thing, like I said, I want 3-down producers. He can be a 3-down back. He can run between the tackles. Like you said, it's not his game, but my big thing is his size. He is too small to carry a full workload. He does need to go to a team that has somebody that can carry that workload. Like I said, he would fit well with a Kenneth Walker. Like how I said, Kenneth Walker needs like a Kareem Hunt type back, James Cook can be that, and he's more versatile. He can line up in the slot. Offensive coordinator can be creative with him. I looked at him, like you said, James White was one of my comps, Gio Bernard, any type of running back that thrives in the receiving game. Put him in space, he'll eat. But yes, he also was not in my top 5. Also, he's around like RB 6, 7 to me. So
honorable mention.
Yep.
I get that too, because he's kind of, not that he's one dimensional. We just said he's one of the most dynamic players, but it's definitely role and scheme specific. To where he's definitely not going to be. I don't think he even gets drafted. I don't think he is drafted as a top 5 running back. I think when you look at those guys, they go in the 3rd round. You know, they're a specialist, not a every down, back or a 2-down back or whatever it may be.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with that. Alvin Kamara was not a top 5 running back drafted in his class. He came in as a receiving back with specialist, and man's paid.
My draft grade on Alvin Kamara, I don't want to talk about it. It's kind of bad. I whiffed on that one hard, boys. Hard.
But Kamara was kind of similar though. Like, he came out of Tennessee, he wasn't the main guy in Tennessee, really, for the most part. I mean, he had Hurd there with him, so he came in. They knew what his fit was, and that's what they used him as, and he flourished.
You guys have any landing spots? I know I mentioned KC and Tampa. You guys got anything else?
I like KC a lot, actually. I just think he could be what they wanted Clyde to be.
Mine was Denver, because Javonte Williams was my RB1.
Yeah.
And
you and me both, brother.
I would love to see James Cook with as the lightning to the Javonte Thunder.
Dude.
Yeah.
There's
no
nice. Better Thunder in the NFL right now.
Najee was still RB1.
Still making boys bounce.
Najee was RB2.
Najee was RB1.
Javonte was RB1.
All right, let me see if I can find my 5.
All right, we're on 5.
We're on 5. We're doing good,
Okay.
guys. I like this. I like this.
Y'all gonna hate this one.
Dude, Strong. I don't hate it. Definitely someone needs to be talked about. But is that 3 on Pierce?
Yeah, I was Pierce and so was Nate.
I had Kyron Williams.
Yep, same on Williams. And you had him earlier. So yeah, let's talk. Chaz, you can go first, seeing as how you don't like going last.
I don't have to go first. Hey, Ash
was higher on him than Chaz.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Ash was higher on him than Dan. Yeah.
This is true.
Yo, so when I watched Damien Pierce, man, I see Frank Gore. Or not Frank Gore, sorry. Mark Ingram. So, like, this dude just does everything well. Like, he blocks. And we've been talking about pass blocking. He might be the best pass blocker in this entire draft. And he blocks the way he runs. He runs physical. He runs hard. He doesn't run a 4.3 like some of these other guys, but he gets what's given to him. And he runs effectively through it, and he has a good, decisive way that he chooses where he goes. And he's used a lot of different ways. He's an effective receiver from what I've seen. Like, he's catching over the shoulder. He's catching.
See that one? That one, nice. Where he adjusted and caught that one-handed. Oh man, that was a nice catch. Damn, that was nice.
I'm walking away, and I've been watching all these guys. He probably has the highest floor for me. Like, in terms of, I can see teams finding a role for him throughout the league. Like, he just does something that everybody needs, and it just depends on what they need. And based on what I've been seeing, like, he's got the personality that everybody's enjoying. He's doing really well in interviews. The dude, what did I say? Yeah, natural fluid runner, finds holes well, explodes as much. He's an exploder. He doesn't have that 4th gear, but he's got that 2nd and 3rd gear that can get to that 2nd, maybe 3rd level. Not going to break away all the way to the end, but he just has a great combination of traits that if I'm drafting a running back in the day 2 range, he has things that I know he can bring to the table his rookie season that I might not be able to get from a veteran. So that's why I chose him that high, just because I feel that he just has a lot of things that I don't get from these other guys. I could see him playing for the next 8 to 11 years. And I can't say that for Isaiah Spiller.
So, but you say you can see him playing for 8 to 11 years. I agree, and that's why my comp is C.J. Anderson. I like bowling ball, short yard situation, tough runner, can load. Man, my favorite play of the year was when he lost his helmet. I don't care. Like,
he murdered that dude. He murdered that guy.
Right, and my thing is, I don't like I was like, oh, he lost his helmet. Why did he keep running? That was stupid. And then I was like, what?
That's him.
so that was my thing. And
cheers to that.
He is really good in pass protection. He can't hit the hole well. He's that short yardage back. He fits a role, and that's what you need. Sometimes you just need role players, and I've tried not to say that role player sounds like an insult, and it's not. Role players win games. You need role players. So come in on 3rd and 1, hand him the ball. He's going to get it hard. It's just you need players like that. He can work well with any offense. So I like Damien Pierce. He was my RB5. He made the list. I'm with it.
Yeah, I'm listening to Ashton. I'm like, man, you could say, or you said a lot of the same stuff about Spiller, just with less enthusiasm. But yeah, no, I agree. I like Pierce a lot. I like his run style. I like his physicality. He does, like you guys said, he does pretty much everything well. He doesn't do anything elite, but he does everything well. And I get he does do pass blocking really well. Him and Spiller, I think, as I saw, are the top 2 for me. But he's going to give you the effort. He's going to give you everything he has. I like his play style. And like you said, yeah, he's got a high floor. But yeah, he's a good role player. Just like Chaz kind of talked about. He's a guy that a team needs on the team to do well, and he can pretty much do anything. Put him in there and let him go. I don't know why. I'm confused why Florida didn't give him more runs. Like I was trying to figure out, watching the tape, like why didn't he get more play? But I don't know.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway with Pierce. He was actually my RB6. He was very close. Watching him at Florida this year, like he was very underutilized. I think that was one of the big takeaways from the Senior Bowl this year. Like I think he's a player that helped himself a lot, kind of raised those questions, like why wasn't this guy used? I mean, he was showing his elusiveness as a runner and great vision. He was showing out in receiving drills, and one-on-ones, and then the blocking. He caught my eye at one of the practices down in Mobile. He was, forget who it was blitzing against him, but they were doing like a blitz pickup drill against linebackers, and he just popped. It was a bigger linebacker too, and he just popped him and stood him up. I was like, wow. Like
was that Beavers?
It might have been Beavers. It was either Beavers or one of the Georgia guys. I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But I just remember it catching my eye and being like, wow, like that really impressed me. Like you all said, I think he's going to be a great, 2nd or 3rd running back on a team that, comes in and gets some spot carries and is a real difference maker for a team. I think he has a role in the league for, like Ashton said, 8 to 11 years, solid back, and you need those.
Or 3rd round pick.
4th. Yeah.
4th?
Yeah, Nate. 4th.
3rd, 4th?
4th.
Okay. I'm fine with 4.
I love the CJ Anderson comp because I could see him taking over games with his physicality too.
CJ Anderson.
I think that's a perfect comp. Like I'm stealing that one. I'm taking that to the grave with me. Same thing though. Like the concerns I have like was the all shotgun. You kind of seen it. He's not going to be a thumper out of the shotgun formation for teams in the NFL. So he's going to have to be able to adapt and kind of change what he's done before. But man, shakes off weak tackles like it's a joke. Like it literally like makes you kind of giggle when somebody comes at him with a one-arm tackle thinking that anything's going to happen. Like he just it's not that Javonte Williams where that guys are bouncing off of him, but like it doesn't seem like it phases him one bit. If he's going straight, you better just get out the way. Like go for those ankles because good luck. Like you're not going to get it. Lacks burst, lacks athletic, like elite acceleration. He's got like real good short speed, like to the hole, but it doesn't seem like he has that burst from the line of scrimmage in that mid range. So that was kind of like the only really knock on I had on him. He can catch the ball. He's got soft, gorgeous soft hands. Like it's beautiful. But the route running obviously isn't up to par. It's not like you're gonna ask him to come out the slot. It's not like you're gonna ask him to run that Texas route like we just talked about. He's not gonna do any of that. At best, he's coming out of the flat. He'll catch it. He'll break some tackles. He'll go get you a first down. But I could definitely see him not only being that thumper, that thunder to the lightning. In a role player, but I could see him in certain situations, especially in certain divisions like the AFC North that you guys are very familiar with, and that thumper fucking hard-nosed style, or that NFC West Rams Niners type run. I don't think he fits those molds. I don't think either of those teams need him, but Seattle could definitely use one of those guys. He plays mean, and that's like what you love in a running back. I think I have him at 6, but I'm not mad at 5.
I see the Patriots. I think he'd be a good fit for the Patriots.
I could see that.
Yeah. See,
they don't have Brad Bolden anymore.
Any team can use him. Like there's right. Just he doesn't compromise what you want to do by being on the field on any down. He can be on the field on third down. He can be on the field on first or second down. It's just he's not as dynamic as Spiller. So that's why he isn't as high on my list as Spiller is on my list.
Do we have any other fits you guys can think of?
Detroit, everywhere. Maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Anywhere could use that.
Detroit could work.
I could see Detroit. I mean, Baltimore's got a plethora of running backs.
They
coming back. They don't need them. New Orleans, that Ingram fit that Chaz was talking about, I could definitely see that. Don't want to see it, but nobody can run on my Bucks, so it doesn't matter. Let's talk some of these other guys because we had a few other people pop up in the list. Williams being one. Right. I think Ryan, you had him at 5.
I had him at 5.
4. I know.
5.
4. You had him at 4.
I had him at 4.
Kyron Williams?
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everything I saw from him was Clyde Edwards-Helaire at LSU. But he had a better stiff arm. And he was a little skinnier, so he had a little bit more burst to it.
I love when like we actually as scouts write down the same notes because I have stiff arm goddamn. But at the same time, I think his cuts and his like ability to change direction on a dime is the best out of the entire group. And I seen him run routes as a wide receiver more than anybody else. I watched him make linebackers look silly, like it was bad. Like he can be a wide receiver. He wouldn't be a great wide receiver, but he can play wide receiver. And I think like I don't know if I necessarily want to like I have somebody else here that I like wrote this down for, but he's one of those guys that can play and do a lot of different things. His hands, he's quicker than fast, but like he's got good like deep speed. Like he's got that speed that can get it done. He's not getting caught from behind, but he's not elite. Like we know, I think what did he run? Didn't we just talk about this?
Like a 4.7.
4.65.
4.65, yeah. So it's not elite, but He's a mismatch against linebackers. He's a mismatch, I think, even against safeties. If he's a running back coming out of the backfield, I think he's a mismatch nightmare.
He's clever.
My thing is, I think his athleticism questions arose to me at the combine with some of his testing, but on film, it didn't show up that bad. I do disagree. He did get caught from behind a decent amount. He would get 40-yard gains, but he wasn't taking it to the house. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So
misspoke.
I look at him more. He is, to me, I look at him like we all looked at James Cook, but I think he would be better on early downs. If I want James Cook, he would be a better receiver, but Kyron Williams would be a better runner on early downs if you drafted him into that mold. And his pass protection, I disagree with you guys when you guys were saying that Spiller and Damien Pierce were top 2, because Kyron Williams is top 1. Kyron Williams is the best pass protector back in this class. He pops boys, and he rarely misses a blitz. He's like the smartest running back blitz picker upper, like word to Bounty and steal their line. He's the best blitz picker upper in the league, or in the class, excuse me. So I think he's the best running back in pass protection. He's good at, with the ball in his hands and in terms of receiving. And like you said, I think he's the second best third down back in the class, but he would be a better early down back than James Cook. So that's why I have him ranked higher, because, again, I don't want to sacrifice things on any down.
Nate?
I think you muted.
You're
I
still
think you muted.
You muted yourself on.
Sorry. Gotcha. I actually didn't watch any Williams on there. I didn't really even see any highlights of him. So I watched the top 5 guys, and I watched a couple other the top 5 guys I talk about, at least, and then I watched a few others that are going to go a little bit later. I didn't really have anything to speak on him about.
Who's one of the superlative guys for you, or some of these guys on the back end that you're excited about for where they're getting drafted?
One guy I think that I like a lot for like a late day 3, like a 7th round. Guy I saw in Mobile there is Abram Smith from Baylor.
Yes.
Yeah.
My dude. It's nice.
Well, yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's another guy that's a good physical runner. He puts out a ton of effort. He does a lot of things well. He really surprised me in Mobile with his route running and his hands. I didn't really see a lot of that out of him on tape, but I picked up on it during the week there. He did a lot better than what I thought. But yeah, the physicality he plays with, I like those types of backs like that. And then, he was a former linebacker, so he could fit a role in special teams for you. So you can, kind of move him around and things like that. I know you say you might like him. What I see out of him, what I comped him to, would be that Daryl Williams. I think he could find that. If you need a guy that you can plug in there and be serviceable in kind of. If you need a serviceable guy, he can run routes and he can do that. He can run between the tackles. He can kind of do the little things that you may need. That's kind of what I put him as, is that Daryl Williams type where you can fit him in somewhere.
Ryan,
yeah, but
go for it.
With Williams, with me, like you all said, I had him as the 5th guy. It's actually a little higher on him coming into the season, but just happened that a few guys passed him up. That was it. I like his versatility, just like I liked Cook. I just think Cook's a little more explosive and a little more dangerous to me. But like you all said, I like him out of the backfield as a receiver. Liked his elusiveness a lot. Doesn't have crazy speed, like breakaway speed. I thought he had a good first gear. Like he'd get off the line quick, but he just didn't have that second gear to really run away from guys. Like when you're talking 40, 50 yards down the field, like Chad said, he's kind of getting caught a little bit. But yeah, I liked, they said, I liked Abram Smith. I've been seeing him even viewed as an H-back in some instances. Some other guys, I think, helped themselves a little bit in the draft process. Monte Price, I think he had some moments in Mobile out of FIU, little scat back, shifty guy. I think he'll find a role there just as a change of pace kind of guy that can catch passes out of the backfield. I think there's a few guys, that are just kind of mid to low tier that'll find him a place. You got Tyler Algier out of BYU. He'll go somewhere. Hassan Haskins out of Michigan. Brian Robinson out of Alabama. I mean, they always have a back, it seems like. He'll have a role. He won't be, a starting back or like a premier guy, but I think he's got enough to be on a roster. So those are just, there's several guys I think that can be, RB2 or 3 for teams with a premier back that need them. I mean, I look at the Steelers. We got our guy, but I mean, we don't want him carrying the ball too much. So, I mean, we need that guy to come in and give him a few spot carries. I think you could definitely find that like day 3 of this draft.
Put a fool me giving him the ball too much.
All right, there's one guy that was on somebody's top 5 that we did not talk about, and I wanted to talk about. Ashton.
I had 2.
You had two on the list you didn't talk about? 2. I know Strong was there.
Rashad White, who I thought I would have got at least one vote out of y'all about. Like, the dude's just smooth, man. The dude's smooth with how he runs. He's got a great body. I have it in front of me. He's like 6'1", 210. And he didn't get a lot of chances throughout his career, but when he did, man, the dude made plays. And he is older. He's 23 years old coming out of college, but just the way he ran, the way he carried the ball when he got the chance. I mean, he was hurdling dudes back all the time. And he reminded me of Aaron Foster more than anybody else in this class. And it's just because of the fluidity that he brought to the table. And I think that's one of the main things that I really prioritize is balance, like just contact balance, body control, fluidity whenever they're in space. And I really like what Rashad White brought to the table. And he's a really good receiver, too, from what I was seeing. Just he had good hands with what he brought to the table. And just at the next level, again, that's how I always project these things. I just could see him being a productive player at the next level just based on how his playing style was at the previous one. So him for sure. But my personal favorite, I was in Indy for the combine, and the guy that really just I walked away with, like, I got to look more into this dude, was Pierre Strong. Pierre Strong is a baller, son. I know he played at South Dakota State, and he played lesser competition. I get that. But he continuously, every time he was on the field, he was the best player on the field. And it was evident every time you turn on any tape of him. And he ran a 4.37. Dude's 5'11", 200 pounds, just good body, good speed, good athletic profile, and his moves, man. He's got the nastiest moves in the class, I think, and that's really what I look for. Is like who's really putting moves on dudes and who's really making them look the silliest, because that transfers, like that aspect of your game that just looks different than anybody else. That you see again at some point. And even though he's playing at the FCS level, I was incredibly impressed with what he had. I'm a big fan. I'm surprised nobody else brought him up to this point. But Pierre Strong, man, I'm looking for him late 4th, early 5th. I think he can make noise very soon. I think he has one of the higher ceilings in this class, just based on what his capabilities are.
I really liked Pierre Strong. I really did. I was surprised I don't think it was on that list of what Ryan had thrown out there of guys to talk about, but he's somebody that I had on the radar for a minute in terms of looking up running backs. And I mean, what I got, straight line speed, one cut guy. He needs space. He needs the ability to pick up speed. And like when he makes those jukes that make guys like look silly, it's when he's at half to full speed. He's not doing it at a dead stop like you see with Walker, you see with some of these other guys. Not saying that he can't do it, but his highlight reel is when he's in space just making guys look silly. And I loved it. He, to me, was like a Daryl Henderson home run hitter type. Like, it's either going to be very little or it's going to be a hell of a lot. I think he led. I'm not sure what it was, but I know he had 10 plays of 50+ yard touchdowns, or 10 50+ yard touchdowns. That's saying it. He is a home run hitter.
He makes you miss. He makes you pay.
Lacks blocking, and I mean he looked like, that's what's funny is I looked up his size. He looks smaller on film than he actually is, and I'm gonna say this the same thing about Rachaad White. White plays with big back energy. And I looked, he looks small, and then you look up his stats, you're like, all right, he's not that tiny. But, and I might be crazy for this, but I think Rachaad White needs a almost wide receiver hybrid role of like a Deebo Samuels type. Am I crazy for thinking that? But that's what I see, because I mean, he lacks change direction, he's got tight hips, he's not the greatest running back. But in a hybrid role, he'd be perfect. He's a damn good special teamer. He's going to be one of those guys. He's an 8 to 10 year player in the NFL in terms of being a gunner, doing anything he can to stay on the field. And you show, you can see it. There's no way that Rachaad White isn't going to stay on a team, because he plays with so much heart. He runs hard. You see that big back energy is what I always have that mentality. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, somebody's got big back energy. He may be small, but he plays big. He thinks he's gonna take a 300-pound offensive lineman and put him on his ass. It doesn't happen, but he thinks he can.
See, I agree with you on Rachaad White in terms of being getting snaps at wide receiver, because my comp for him was super weird, and it's Golden Tate. He looks like Golden Tate when he gets in the open space.
It does. That's good. That's good.
And when he gets in the open space, that's when he's at his best. He's very slippery, and he can still runs like a running back in open space, but he kind of runs like a wide receiver. It's odd.
Thank you.
It's
almost aloof.
Yeah, it's he's super this is gonna sound weird, but he runs like he's high. So
I like
and that's not an insult. That's not an insult, but it's just he run like he don't
He's loose.
He don't care.
Yeah, he doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, he's
I thought I was gonna get buried for this take of he needs to play wide receiver or play this hybrid role. I thought I was gonna get buried. I was super nervous.
Oh no, man! Because
no, I see that for sure. You just give him the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In space by any means necessary. Screens.
Yeah.
Jet sweeps, anything you can do. Just give him the ball.
Just a very minor note. I wanted to watch Pierce Strong. I couldn't find any good film on him that wasn't highlight tapes. So I did not. And I don't like watching those before I get
Colorado. Colorado was the best one I could find.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
working on getting us some better tape, gentlemen. I think I finally got the hookup again on the. Never mind. I'll shut up now. But yes, it's en route. We're gonna have it for at least the last month of scouting. I'm gonna get that film again. Anybody else you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up? I mean, there's a couple other guys. Robinson is one that some people are talking about. I mean, you guys got anything else?
Zamir White should have got mentioned at this point. Zamir White can run the fucking ball. Dude, I think him and James Cook are right there in terms of caliber of just overall prospect. It just completely depends on what type of scheme you're trying to run. James Cook obviously is much more the receiving back who can provide much more third down value. But Zamir White can run the ball, man. That dude's got some genuine runner instincts. He looks smooth when he's running it. He's explosive. Dude could have some breakaway. He's not easy to tackle. I'm a fan of Zamir White. 6 foot, 215, runs a 4.4. I think he could definitely. I think he deserves to at least be an honorable mention. Is all I'm saying.
I agree. There's nothing sexy about him at all, but he runs really good. Just good. He's a really good solid back. I feel like the middle, for a running back class, the middle is so good in this year. For draft value, the mid running backs, they're definitely gonna have roles, and they're definitely going to get carries compared to other years where it's like the top guys only, everybody else can take a hike.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a class where it's like the top 3 guys are on a tier, and then there's probably a tier of like 5 or 6 guys, and then there's a third tier of another 4 or 5 guys right on the back of that second tier, and you can kind of interchange them all around.
It's gonna be interesting. I cannot wait. Anything else before we wrap this up, gentlemen?
His name was brought up, so I just figured I'd mention it because I did a scouting report. Brian Robinson, not a fan. He's a big body dude. He's got some decent first to second gear explosion, but dude had a long of 37 yards in college for a reason. I see him as a lesser man's Latavius Murray in the sense of he makes his effectiveness based on his size and that he's tall and he makes things. He's hard to tackle in that regards, but he's not really a power back. He's just not that guy. So I wouldn't have him any earlier in the 5th round at this point. I just wanted to bring that up because I heard him earlier. Yeah, not a Brian Robinson guy. Just want to put that on the record.
Yeah, I think that's a fair spot for him to go. I liked him a little bit more than you, but I still think that's the spot for him.
5th round for sure.
But I was seeing like 3rd rounders, and I was like, I don't know.
No.
Jack of all trades, master of none is what I have written down for him. He's okay to good at everything. He can catch out of the backfield. It's not like nothing's pretty about it. He is that big, tall, Latavius type. I could definitely see that being a comp because long strider is the first thing I did, but fluid, smooth movement, hard to bring down, one cut type of back. But just definitely helped being behind that offensive line. And when you think of being behind that offensive line with all of those future pros and you're only getting a 37-yard, that's your high. That's probably saying something.
It's getting caught.
But he's not bad. I'm not going to say he's a bad running back.
Gain if you want a 2-yard gainer.
I think he'll take whatever.
How are you drafting that?
He'll take whatever the offensive line gives him.
Right.
That's what you got to say about Brian Williams. And so if you have a good offensive line, then it really doesn't matter. He's going to be serviceable.
I think another guy that I think was brought up, I just want to touch on again, was Hassan Haskins. If you want a big back, physical runner, I just like his style. I don't know. That's just me as far as bigger backs go.
Abram Smith, man.
Yeah.
Ruth.
Yeah. I do like him.
Chiefs in the 6th round, man. Let's do it. Come on.
We don't got a 6th. We got to take him 7th.
That's well done. We'll trade up with our 4 7th round picks. We'll do that.
I'm sure that's going to happen. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
It's a good discussion.
This was good. This was good. I like the 5. 7's a little much, but I mean that's kind of what the war room is, and we get into those off-topic or off-cuff debates and stuff like that. This was smooth.
What's next week? Wide receivers.
Wide receivers. Maybe we try and cram wide receivers and tight ends into next week, and then.
Well, wide receivers is going to be a long discussion. I feel like.
I know. It is. It's probably the biggest. It's the deepest. It is every year now.
Top 3.
This wide receiver class,
and
I got a lot of guys I like.
My thing with the wide receiver class, it's gonna be some debates, and I'm excited.
Yeah,
because I wouldn't be surprised. Did you guys see that mock draft that came out? I think it was ESPN that had Drake London going 4th overall.
Yeah.
And so I was at work, and we always keep ESPN up on the screen, and I was walking to the back, and I looked up and I saw that. I just screamed out, "What?" in the middle of work, and everybody was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Oh, Drake London going 4th overall, insane!" And then somebody was like, "Oh, I don't know who that is." And I was like, "Well, shut up!" I don't know. So,
was that before or after he clocked in at 6'2"?
I don't know. We'll talk about it next week. We'll talk about it next week.
Appreciate you guys all tuning in. We'll go around and give everybody's handles so everybody can follow and like. Nate, let them know where they can follow you at.
I'm on Nate Kansas at Twitter.
Jeff?
All right, I'm at CC NFL Draft on Twitter.
Ashley Tone?
At Ashhole 1056. What's good? Let me know.
Then I'm at Lippert42.
At Jack Bourgeois, JackBooshwa. But I ain't even on it anymore, so don't even bother. Appreciate you guys all tuning in. I know. Scouts have to be on Twitter. I don't like social media. Deal with it. This is why we have a media manager, Blitzalytics. Follow me at Blitzalytics. How about that? Get everything you need to know from Blitzalytics. Thank you all for tuning in. I will give a shout out to our sponsors, Key City Brewing, Drink, Revel, Repeat. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and see y'all next week for a little bit more aggressive debating. Let's put it that way. We were too nice today.
Pierre Strong, RB1. What's good?
Shut, get the